My last stream, the topic of live action adaptations came about when discussing anime. And when it comes to me, anime is something I enjoy uniquely on its own. When I watch anime, the idea of a live action adaptation doesn't even cross my mind. Like when I'm watching any type of anime, I don't think, man, I can't wait for this to get adapted. It's not that I don't, think they're bad or good. It's just something when I watch anime, it just doesn't cross my mind. And I know there's, certain live adaptations that, people enjoy. And just because it's something I'm not looking forward to doesn't mean I don't think they should exist. It's just not something I get excited for. But there are, I don't care what people say, objectively bad live action adaptations, Cowboy Bebop being a good example of that. That always infuriates me when that topic comes up, because Cowboy Bebop, for those that tune into my live streams, that is my top 5 favorite anime. So when I saw this tweet from the K-Pop Demon Hunters creator, this is something that really stood out to me and it caught my attention. K-Pop Demon Hunter is something that's very, very popular at the moment. I haven't seen it, but I have heard it's good. My niece, last time I was over at my sister's house for Halloween, and my niece, and the topic of K-Pop Demon Hunters came about, and she was like, "Yo, we gotta watch this right now." I'm like, "All right, well, I'm not gonna watch it tonight, Halloween, but maybe some other time." But I know it's something that's very, very popular. And when I saw this tweet from the creator, it really surprised me. So it says the creators of K-Pop Demon Hunters have rejected the idea of creating a live action movie. There's so many elements of the tone and the comedy that are so suited for animation, it's really hard to imagine these characters in a live action world. And this is something I really applauded. I think I actually responded to it, but I'm not going to scroll down. But this is something I really applauded. They get huge respect from me. They get props. This is something I admire, because nowadays, or it's a common practice, I guess you should say, in Hollywood, that whenever something becomes popular, they almost treat whatever is popular like how a live streamer repurposes content, where a live streamer, after they're done their stream, they'll cut up clips for shorts and TikToks, and then videos for long form content. They they repurpose the content to have it exist across multiple mediums to to bring in more revenue and to gain more attention. And I see that's what Hollywood does a lot. They repurpose something like, okay, they'll get an animation or something. Okay, let's make a live action of it. Okay, now let's make toys out of it. Okay, now let's make a video game out of it. And just to, rake in more money or whatever. And I get the motivation behind it, but I said in my stream, I'm a capitalist, but at the same time, I am a creative. And I really think, creators like these, because they could easily make money with a live action. There's so much demand, but for them to pump the brakes and be like, yeah, I understand the demand, but I really don't think this is something that can exist in a live action medium. As they said, the tone of it wouldn't be fitting for a live action. Maybe like the humor wouldn't be fitting for a live action. It's something that, certain aspects of a story only animation can capture, as far as like tone and humor. And I really applaud that, man. It takes a lot of willpower. It takes a lot of self-control, and it takes I would say a true creative to no, I'm not trying to milk the shit out of this. Not everything has to be for monetary gain. Let this be something that, exists in the medium that it was intended for and designed for. And actually, that's how you sustain the integrity and the value of something and preserve it for years to come. That's what actually leads to the longevity of something. I really, like to give shout outs to these type of creatives. I mentioned in my a few videos back where Hugh Jackman, he's another creator where this is somebody who took a pay cut because he wanted the Logan movie to be rated R for the Wolverine trilogy, and he wasn't thinking as far as like monetary gain, because the studio was like, well, rated R movies don't make as much as PG-13. He was like, listen, I'm trying to make the best movie I can make. He's not thinking about necessarily the monetary value. He's like, listen, I'll take a pay cut so we can do this movie justice. That's a creative. I give props to those type of people whenever I come across these stories. And I want to give an example of what it looks like, how there are certain aspects of an anime that live action just cannot capture, right? So I recently watched this anime called No Guns Life. It's about a a guy who has a gun for a head, and it's definitely my type of vibe. It's like a noir type of atmosphere, noir like that. Those old like Casablanca or detective black and white films to it. I was going to say neo noir, but that's more Blade Runner, like in the future. It's about a guy who has a gun for a head, right? So his face is basically expressionless. You can't tell what he's thinking by looking at him. He has no expression, but of course he has a mouth. He smokes cigarettes, like I said, it has that old noir feel to it, where you have this cool, stoic, real masculine, the man's man guy character. Who goes on these like little missions in each episode. He has the traditional trench coat that really is fitting of that type of character. He's always smoking. He's the cool guy. And so there's this one scene where it almost catches you off guard how he breaks character. This is the first episode. And he comes across this girl who it turns out to be an enemy. But look at his expression. Like it automatically jumps, right? And that's something that animation can capture, but I'm gonna give a better example. Give me a second. He sees the heavies. Like one, I thought this was hilarious. I was like, yo, this is another, fun. Anybody knows coming to my live streams or seeing my videos, I am a huge fan of the heavies. Like I said, this is something that animation can only capture, right? I don't even know how you would do this in a live action adaptation. I'm sure there is a method of doing it. It's something that can really only be done to the best and utmost degree within an anime or within an animation or animated medium, to be able to just capture an expression as far as like be set aback by the heavies by a woman's breasts. It's something that animation can capture that a live action movie or show just wouldn't be able to. So, she is bad. This will catch any guy off guard, just so stunning. So, and then, and it happens multiple times. But here's another example. We love fan service over here. And then she like flirts with him. And of course he has a gun for her head, so his revolver starts going crazy uncontrollably, right? And I'm sure that's almost meant as a metaphor. I hope metaphor is the right word to use in this situation where, a girl flirts with you, and sometimes, this is YouTube, so we're going to keep it YouTube friendly, certain shit can happen to you as a guy that you just can't help. And I love how, of course, he has a gun for a head, but it's funny how he's sweating bullets and he's sweating uncontrollably as well. And that's something that animation can capture and that not a live action film will be able to, or a live action setting. The revolver is just going crazy. I love how they like just represented that within, especially for his character, right? And then it just slows down. But oh, I should have brought, damn. This remind me of that scene in Rush Hour. I might put it in the video when I edit it. It reminds me just as that scene in Rush Hour 2. The jump cut. All right, let's get back to K-pop Demon Hunter's tweet. This is clearly in demand. K-pop Demon Hunter is, to say is in demand is an understatement. It is widely, globally popular, right? And the fact that they rejected the idea of creating a live action movie, for having to just have that willpower to say, no, I'm good. Let this story exist in the medium it was intended for and designed for, which is animation. This is where the creative meets the studio exec, or the person who is looking to invest in, like, hey, this is really popular, I put money behind this so we can both profit from this. And they're thinking like a creative, like, yeah, I understand, but this film made enough money on its own where let's preserve the integrity and the quality of it, because that'll lead to its longevity, which you'll most likely in the future get paid probably the amount of money that you were going to make from a live action film. Just in a different way, right? You know, it works in mysterious ways. It reminds me of like Dave Chappelle when they kept wanting him to do a third season of the Chappelle show, and everybody was asking for it. I mean, I remember the demand was so high. Like even the DVD sales of the first two seasons, also Seinfeld, I think. The demand was there, and he didn't want to do a third season. He just didn't feel right about it. And then decades, like what was it, like I was like '03, so like maybe a decade and a half later, he did his first special in like, you know, in years. And he made all the money he would have made from making a third season of the Chappelle show, even more. And that's what happens when, you know, sometimes as a creative, not sometimes, as a creative, you should put the integrity of something first and just, you know, have patience. And like I said, Dave Chappelle made more than what he would have made if he made a third season of the Chappelle show with his stand-up special. So I'm sure as popular as this movie and as animated movie is, they will make that money that they would have made from a live action somehow in the future. Maybe with, I don't know, meet and greets or something. I don't know. Who knows? You know. So I just wanted to make a video dedicated to that because you just don't see moves like these today, you know. So that's all I have for this video, man. Like I said, I'm a capitalist, but I'm also a creative, and I like to give you know, props and the shout outs to, you know, creatives who and prioritize the quality and integrity of what they created, and, you know, not always be on the chase for a monetary gain and just, you know, repurpose it, you know, as Hollywood is currently doing with everything, especially Disney. And this, you know, let's make this one thing exist in multiple mediums to make as much money as we can. And look what that's bringing them. But anyway, appreciate y'all watching. Let me know what you guys' thoughts are in the comments below. If you haven't already, check out my music. Links in the description. If you love those Samurai Champloo, lo-fi, mellow boom bap vibes, then my music is definitely for you. And if you want to support the content I create, consider becoming a member by joining my channel. It's much appreciated. And I will see you in the next video or next live stream. Oh, and also if you want to, follow me on X. And yeah, man, free think. Peace.